Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Game Break, the full coverage writer's presentation where we take a few moments to discuss the story behind some of our favorite video games. Will here, returning to Rapture once again for BioShock 2. When we last left off, we were introduced to our new protagonist, the mysterious Big Daddy known only as Subject Delta. He is currently on a quest to find his little sister, Eleanor, with the aid of Dr. Tannenbaum, who I'm sure we all remember from BioShock 1 as one of the people who helped create the Little Sisters. And I'm not sure if she helped create the Big Daddies, but she was involved in the process. But we are being stopped by one Dr. Sofia Lamb, who seems to want Eleanor for her own purposes. Dr. Sofia Lamb has great plans for Rapture that involves using the Little Sisters, like Eleanor, and we are apparently a thorn in her side, which is why she tried to kill us 10 years ago. But it failed, and now she's trying again, because that's just how these things go. Let's see what new bits of plot we can learn today.
Father, it's me, Eleanor. I know you're awake in there. I can feel it. Mother won't be able to toy with you like that ever again. This plasmid is for you. If I'm right, you can use it now. Please, find me.
And so the trippy hallucinations continue. Apparently, Eleanor has some way to speak to us through our mind, not quite sure how, but it's certainly helpful considering she's leaving us nice little presents in the form of plasmids. There's just a lot of questions that go along with that.
Throw objects at foes. You can even catch grenades and throw them back.
Good old telekinesis. Such a wonderful gift from our possibly daughter? She called us father, so one would assume that she's our daughter, but with these BioShock games, it usually seems safer not to assume anything. It's just interesting to wonder how she's communicating with us in such a way. But it's certainly helpful.
Hello, Mr. Diary. Want to play? Actually, I'm quite busy right now, Miss Eleanor. Maybe later. Well, all right. But do you mind if I take you apart while I wait? I promise I'll put you back together.
Wait! You can't do that! No!
Wait! Eleanor!
Well, it seems that young Eleanor was quite the inquisitive one. It's honestly still a little creepy, the recording, hearing her conversation with the tape recorder as she dismantled it. I also have to wonder, because it seems that Eleanor is supposedly Dr. Sofia Lamb's daughter, but again, how true that is yet to be seen. If it's biologically true, or just the way they set things up to make it easier to control the little girl. As we already know, the supposed orphans who became Little Sisters all had families. None of them were orphans.
There would be no Rapture without me. No city without the Atlantic Express. Ryan took his first grand tour on my flagship coach. But these days, personal bathyspheres are all the rage. My rails only connect the oldest parts of Rapture now. And the city's just left me behind. Plenty of cash in the bank, though. This private vehicle craze will blow over soon.
No man stands in the way of progress. Although that may just be a way of the story writers kind of retconning the fact that this tram network did not exist in the first game, but does exist here in the second game. Most likely they put that little bit in there to say, why yes, they did have a tram, but then the bathyspheres came around and were more popular. So the tram doesn't connect to all the parts of Rapture, just the old parts. A little bit of interesting story writing theory on that one. It works, though. It's believable, and that's what matters.
White is not black, Dr. Lamb. Down is not up, and straw is not gold. Look around you. Rapture is no miracle. It is a product of reason. Impossible unless 1 and 1 are 2, and A equates to A.
And yet, alone, each man is a prisoner to bias, dream, delusion, or the pain of a phantom limb. To one man, they are as real as rain. Reality is consensus, and the people are losing faith. Take a walk, Andrew. It is raining in Rapture, and you have simply chosen not to notice.
Oh dear. Looks like Dr. Sofia Lamb was giving Andrew Ryan a bit of a hard time. He brought her in to help stabilize the people of Rapture, and she comes in and starts questioning his authority, and potentially even causing riots. Granted, psychologically speaking, she knew more than him, but I'm sure he'll live, or lived, to regret the decision. It is before Jack came around and beat him over the head with a golf club. Still, very interesting stuff. If you're going to deal with a psychiatrist, I suppose it helps to know a bit of psychiatry yourself.
These people are hooked on some kind of genetic wonder drug called Adam. I've read the word splicer scribbled on walls like a warning. One of them cornered me and Christ, his face. I had a gun, but I choked. And then out of nowhere, we both heard this singing. And he took off like hell on wheels. It sounded like a kid. A little girl. Cindy's alive. I know it in my gut.
Sofia Lamb is using the splicers against you. Most big daddies are like her slaves, guarding the little ones. But someone has awakened you.
So Sofia Lamb, of course, has somewhat control over the big daddies and the splicers in this place. Only makes sense because she's supposed to be the one in charge right now, just like how Andrew Ryan controlled the splicers last time. More interesting was Meltzer's notice. Looks like he's on a similar path to ours, with the one differentiation being he's normal and we're a strange big daddy. Hopefully his journey will go better than ours. I suppose we'll find out soon.
I know of your bond with Eleanor, Delta. To save yourself, you will come for her. But Eleanor has a destiny, one you cannot share. There is no place for you in paradise.
So that kind of confirms that Lamb is able to track our progress, which isn't surprising. Again, if Tannenbaum knows where we are, Sofia Lamb also knows where we are. Our plans are pretty grandiose, searching to create a paradise, and unfortunately, we aren't welcome. And of course, I don't think Delta really cares much about paradise.
In ethical psychiatry, we must account for the role of evolution. Depression, fits of panic, sexual pathos, all responses to ancient selection pressure. The irony is that this theory is why Ryan's people invited me here. They mistake my study of natural law for the worship of competition. Remember, Eleanor, one must know the beast before it can be slain.
So it looks like pretty early on, Sophia, was planning on taking over Rapture. I suppose Jack eliminating the competition of Andrew Ryan and Frank Fontaine only helped things for her. But again, we're not dealing with someone who is funded by money or power, but by the mind and the psyche. She could be a very interesting foe, because she'll know what makes us tick, and how to use our own fears against us. I am almost afraid to say. No idea what she'll throw at us in the future. But she doesn't want us in her paradise. And frankly, as I was saying, I don't think Subject Delta cares much about finding her paradise as much as finding his little Eleanor.
Quickly, head for the elevator.
Looks like Big Sister is still watching. And wherever she goes, we must follow. After all, the Big Sisters have a close connection to Sofia Lamb. And where Sofia Lamb is, Eleanor will likely be nearby.
I would take anyone. I'm not done. I'm lonely. That time you got. Why they always gotta leave? Nobody knows. Come on, I just want to talk. This kid, right here.
Now, here is what the children tell me. You are a very old Big Daddy, bonded for life to a single little one. When you are apart for too long, your body begins to shut down like a coma. As long as the girl is in the Rapture, you are trapped here as well. The name of your little one is Eleanor Lamb, daughter of Sophia. She is kept at Fontaine Futuristics on the other side of the city. You must go there and save her before it is too late.
And there it is. Official confirmation that young Eleanor is Sofia Lamb's daughter. But what's worse is that we are specifically bonded to young Eleanor. We must find her, and she must be near us. If we are ever apart for too long, poor old Delta goes to sleep, which may explain why he slept for so long after shooting himself in the head. But what woke him up? Did Eleanor find a way to wake him, or did she simply return? Perhaps Jack attempted to rescue her? It's hard to say, but I'm sure we'll find the answer soon.
Dr. Su Chong's death was a nasty blow to the Protector program, but I'm gradually settling into his role, picking up the slack that his carelessness left behind. We are gaining steam again, but I'm not satisfied. Yes, the Big Daddy defends the girl, but he is programmed only for the fight, like a sheepdog who wanders off unless a wolf is tearing at his flock. When no aggressor is present, he regards his little sister as he might a common houseplant. We need something more, something stronger, an unbreakable physiological bond.
And so we learn after Dr. Suchong's death at his own creation, others continued his work. And now we see how someone like Subject Delta came to be. They wanted a more efficient and more protective Big Daddy watching over the little sisters, so they created that physiological bond. Big Daddies have to protect the little sisters for their own sakes, as opposed to simply protecting them from danger because they were told to. It's very interesting, really. A little depressing, but I suppose it makes sense from a business standpoint.
You see? This is why I must fight Sofia Lamb. She is using the new little ones for something. And I have returned to rescue them. If I do not, more children will die for my sins. And the rapture nightmare will repeat forever. Now, we must talk.
Citizens of Rapture, this is Subject Delta. Behind that mask hides an enemy of the people, without soul or sympathy. It is a beast apart, and as family, we must tear out its jaw and drive it back into the sea.
Lamb will take this place apart to find you. Please hold back the splicers until we escape.
Well, that certainly answers a lot of questions I had at the end of BioShock 1. Namely, what happened to Tannenbaum? Did she remain in Rapture, or did she leave? Here, she said she returned to save the new Little Sisters, which implies that at the end of BioShock 1, Jack did indeed rescue most, if not all, of the remaining Little Sisters, and took Tannenbaum with him. But now she's been forced to return. So it seems that the Little Sisters here are new, which would explain Meltzer's earlier recording about his little daughter being taken by a thing. It seems that after the events of BioShock, Sofia Lamb decided she needed Little Sisters to enact her plan to create this so-called paradise. So she sent someone or something to the surface to kidnap little girls and turn them into little sisters, presumably so she could collect Adam. And now Tannenbaum is here to rescue them.
Thank you. Now I must leave you, and I am sorry for this. But there are others I must help before the city drowns. This man Sinclair, he is an ally, and will guide you to Eleanor. Goodbye, Herr Delta. And good luck.
Well, look at you. A bona fide knight in armor, complete with iron horse. The name's Augustus Sinclair, Sport, Esquire. Old Tannenbaum and I share an interest in the old Fontaine building, the very same place you'll find Eleanor Lamb. I think you and I can do business. Take the train to Ryan Amusements. I'll see you shortly.
And now we have a new ally in the mix. However, Sinclair seems more of the businessman-minded type and less of the heroic type. So, while it seems that his focus may be more on turning a profit, I suppose as long as our end goals are roughly aligned, it's better to have him as an ally instead of an enemy. We'll just have to see how things go as we progress.
Whoa there. Now better apply the brakes unless you're aiming to dash yourself against that glacier up ahead. As you can see, Chief, the station here's iced over. To reach Eleanor Lamb at Fontaine headquarters, we'll have to clear the way. Now, in order to melt that ice, you'll need a plasmid, like a handful of hellfire. We used to sell a fine old product called Incinerate in the amusement park up yonder. Go on and find a way in. I've already been on all the rides.
This Sinclair guy has smooth-talking 1950s businessman written all over him. But I kinda like it. So long as he remains an ally, I have no complaints about how he wants to handle business. And of course, an excuse to find more plasmids, just like in BioShock 1.
Eleanor is progressing brilliantly. My physical participation in her birth was minimized, of course. It is vital that I am unhindered by nature's crude bias. I will be, above all, her intellectual progenitor, loyal not to her, but to the people she will ultimately save. But I admit, it is with some measure of pride that I review her marks in standard intelligence tests. As an agent of our beliefs, she may surpass even me.
So that further brings into question just how biologically connected Sofia and Eleanor Lamb really are. Sofia seemed to imply there that perhaps she didn't actually give birth to Eleanor. Perhaps she simply provided the genetic material for Eleanor's creation, and someone else gave birth to her as a surrogate? We may never actually know, but it is interesting to point out that apparently, even from a young age, Eleanor was quite brilliant. And if she was able to surpass Sofia Lamb, perhaps she would come up with her own plans, or see through Sofia's plans as false or imperfect, or simply see that she was being used and desire freedom, which is why we're here trying to rescue her now.
Welcome to Ryan Amusements. Insert your ticket now. Half price for children under 3.
You're a rare old model, son. Alpha series, I believe. Now, Rapture's full of scientific wonderments just like you. And if we can sell them to the world at my price, well, curing your condition ought to be a cakewalk. Once we find Eleanor, the sky's the limit.
A means to an end, it seems. So Sinclair just fully admitted that he wants to take the scientific, although questionable, advancements of Rapture and sell them to the surface world for a profit. However, he is promising to help cure us of our strange Big Daddy conditions and perhaps our physiological connection to Eleanor if we help him. Either way, all roads lead to Eleanor. And perhaps in the end, as long as we're cured, perhaps it won't be so bad after all. We'll just have to wait and see.
I was hired to engineer a park the likes of which no man has seen. Now all I do is watch over it like a grizzled sheepdog. My first line of mechanical puppets made the children here cool with wonder. But Ryan thought my vision was immature. Antiquated, he said. This place could have been something magical. But instead, he turned it into a school. No, a cathedral. Dedicated to himself.
Is it any surprise that Andrew Ryan took something that was meant to be fun for the children and turned it into a brainwashing camp in his own name?
Hack the door controls. That should pop it open.
Yes, we know, Sinclair. I'm talking here. But, yes, apparently Andrew Ryan took the fun bit in Ryan Amusements with mechanical puppetry and whatnot and turned it into some kind of brainwashing camp for the children. Oh dear. It wouldn't be a BioShock game if we didn't have to worry about random little sisters and their guardian big daddies. They almost look so innocent in there, harvesting the atom from the angels, as they call them. Unfortunately, they're working for Sofia Lamb, so it's not their fault, but it's certainly not good.
Can I come up to play again, Mr. B?
And there's her big daddy. Luckily, he hasn't seen us.
Jam dandy. That'll get you in the park. But buying Incinerate's gonna cost Adam. It's a sort of genetic goo that lets you rewrite whatever God gave you. The Little Sisters carry the stuff, as you may recall, so you'll need to locate one. I heard whispering near the El Dorado Lounge. Have a look.
As helpful as Sinclair's bit of news was there, I'm more interested in the book on the table. Unity and Metamorphosis by Dr. Sofia Lamb. I've noticed those books with the butterfly engraving everywhere around Rapture. Seems her material became rather well read in the underwater city. No wonder she had such a large following to help overthrow Andrew Ryan. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for joining me on this interesting look at the next part of BioShock 2. If you like where the story is progressing, feel free to continue the commentary in the comments section below. Again, just try to avoid listing any spoilers. If you enjoyed watching the video, give that like button a hit. And make sure to subscribe to our channel for more great videos from us here at Full Coverage Writers. And until next time, get out there, be creative, and be awesome. With these BioShock games, it usually seems safer not to assume anything. It's just interesting to wonder how she's communicating with us in such a way. But it's certainly helpful.
Hello, Mr. Diary. Want to play? Actually, I'm quite busy right now, Miss Eleanor. Maybe later. Well, all right. But do you mind if I take you apart while I wait? I promise I'll put you back together. Wait! You can't do that! No! Wait! Eleanor!
The mysterious Big Daddy known only as Subject Delta. He is currently on a quest to find his little sister, Eleanor, with the aid of Dr. Tannenbaum, who I'm sure we all remember from BioShock 1 as one of the people who helped create the Little Sisters. And I'm not sure if she helped create the Big Daddies, but she was involved in the process. But we are being stopped by one Dr. Sofia Lamb, who seems to want Eleanor for her own purposes. Dr. Sofia Lamb has great plans for Rapture that involves using the Little Sisters, like Eleanor, and we are apparently a thorn in her. Greetings everyone, and welcome back to Game Break, the full coverage writer's presentation where we take a few moments to discuss the story behind some of our favorite video games. Will here, returning to Rapture once again for BioShock 2. When we last left off, we were introduced to our new protagonist, Side, which is why she tried to kill us 10 years ago. But it failed, and now she's trying again, because that's just how these things go. Let's see what new bits of plot we can learn today.
Father, it's me, Eleanor. I know you're awake in there. I can feel it. Mother won't be able to toy with you like that ever again. This plasmid is for you. If I'm right, you can use it now. Please, find me.
And so the trippy hallucinations continue. Apparently, Eleanor has some way to speak to us through our mind, not quite sure how, but it's certainly helpful considering she's leaving us nice little presents in the form of plasmids. There's just a lot of questions that go along with that.
Throw objects at foes. You can even catch grenades and throw them back.
Good old telekinesis. Such a wonderful gift from our possibly daughter? She called us father, so one would assume that she's our daughter, but